Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. I, of course, am with Originator Success, here with your daily rate lock conversation. The only place on the web where you guys can be a part of the conversation. Remember, you can join me live each and every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay down in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. Really appreciate you doing that. Tells the algorithm that you're watching, tells me that you're watching. I get all the analytics, but do you ever know who's really watching? I do, because when you put hashtag replay, it means that you care. Don't forget to smash that like button. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tag an hello friend, share us in a group, all that good stuff. Remember, you can sign up for our written lock advice. Get an email to your inbox each and every day. Already got today's out. You can sign up for that. It's free, www.ratelockadvice.com. And yes, those of you that have asked, you are free to take any piece of that content, use it as your own. I don't care. I'm here to help you. That's my thing that I can do, and I try to do that. Remember, you can also sign up for our text alerts, www.ratetextalerts.com. Last but not least, check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out how we help you to get loans from Google and social media. Let's say hi to the live folks. Good morning, Ms. Monica Dinkins. How are you today? Hope you are doing well. Armando Sandoval, good morning. Back in Tennessee. Awesome. Great to have you there. It's 29 degrees here in the mountains. What are you looking at these days, Armando? How much warmer is it by you? I figured it's probably at least 10, 12 degrees. Tim Klyla up in Michigan, though, he doesn't get any warmer. Tim, what's the temperature up by you, my friend? Mike Tebow, aren't you in the Chicago-ish area? Michigan, too? Aren't you in Michigan? I think Mike and Tim are both in Michigan. Ron Siegel, good morning, sir. And great to see you here as well. And if you're here, say good morning. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and let's get to the good stuff here. So today, rate sheets are very likely to be about the same as yesterday. Bonds did improve a little bit through the day yesterday, but those gains slipped away this morning. I'll show you the charts in a moment. Quick recap of what happened yesterday. Bonds improved through the afternoon, about 20 basis points. Not huge, but enough to give a handful of lenders the room to go ahead and reprice better, but it wasn't many. Generally on the wholesale side, the usual ones that reprice worse very quickly, reprice better a little bit quicker. They were the ones that generally did that. Today, reprice risk is low. Right now, it's 9:34 a.m. Eastern time as I'm doing this video live, and in about 25 minutes at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're going to get the consumer confidence data. Now, that's coming out right as pricing hits, which is generally right around 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's when most lenders start coming out with pricing, or at least working out where their pricing and their morning rate sheets are going to be. So even you on the West Coast, you guys get early pricing to you, but it starts at about 10 a.m. Eastern time with us. So anyway, consumer confidence data comes out at 10 a.m. If it shows any kind of weakness, it could help us see a little bit of a recovery from this morning's losses. Right now, mortgage-backed securities are down 17 basis points to start the day. I'll turn the chart on so you guys can see that. Right now, we're down 17 basis points to start the day. And we could see, if that consumer confidence data comes in a little bit weaker, showing any kind of weakness, we could see that go ahead and improve a little bit. This is important to note. The 10-year Treasury yield, 4.40. Yesterday, it ended the day at 4.388. So call it 4.39. This morning, it was up to about 4.5 and 4.45 rather. And then it's dropped back down to about 4.40. So this is a good sign. You can see that overall, I want to zoom in on this. Let's see if, there we go. Perfect. So I want to zoom in on this 10-year Treasury yield, and I want to just really show you guys. I'm going to take a screenshot of this for you. I want to show you what is going on here and why this is so important. Basically, we're not likely to see rates move much. I'm going to go ahead and change this here. Let me come back here. So anyway, you guys are all giving me your weather reports. I'll actually answer those in a minute. Rates are likely to hold steady until the big stuff happens first couple weeks of December. This week, we're not likely to see rates move much. We're likely to see them kind of hold steady. If we take a look at Mortgage News Daily, using that as a reference point, you could see that we are at 7.32. 7.33, 7.38, 7.37, 7.3. I mean, we're really right there, right around 7.38, and we haven't really seen rates move much, just a little bit more on the pricing side than on the rate side. That's likely to continue this week. We do have PCE data comes out. I'm pretty sure it's on Thursday. And let me look at the economic calendar just to double check, but I'm 90% sure that is on Thursday. Let's see, economic calendar here. We'll look at that together real quick. So yeah, that is on Thursday. PCE data is on Thursday. Tomorrow we get revised GDP data and then the Fed's beige book. I don't think that that's likely to move things too much. The Fed's beige book is going to show some economic slowdown, but nothing too big. GDP data getting revised shouldn't really hurt us too much. Ron, you and I were talking about, where did you think that the GDP was going to get revised down to? You thought it was going to get revised down, I think, below 2, was it, if I remember correctly? I'm curious about that. But anyway, the outlook is still really good for rates, y'all. Rates are likely to hold steady. The first week of December, the first full week, next week, we're going to get all the labor data. We're going to get the JOLTS job openings, labor turnover survey. We're going to get the ADP data. We're going to get the non-farm payrolls, wages, unemployment numbers. If we see anything that the market can run with on weakness, that's going to help rates to improve. And that's part of what gave us a bit of a rally last month. If we take a look here at mortgage-backed securities, you could see that right here on November, nope, not for the 14th, here it is, November 3rd, Friday, November 3rd, we had a huge jump. We were at 98.41. The next day, we were at 99.14. That's about 75 basis points that we saw, 70 to 75 basis points, a big move on the jobs data last month. This big candlestick. We really saw rates take a nice improvement there. And I think that there's a good chance that we could see something very similar happen this time around as well, next week. And then following that, we're going to get the CPI inflation report and the Fed meeting within a 1-2 punch. It's going to be like jab, uppercut. And we could see really, really good improvement. If markets think that the Fed is done raising rates and gets a message that they're going to reduce rates in the future. So Mike said, how are Black Friday sales this year? I heard they were down. No, they were not down. They were up 5.5% according. I don't know why Adobe does numbers. But since you're asking about this, I will jump over to that and let's show you that. And then I'll go back to that chart thing that I was going to show you guys too. So let me turn this back on. So Mike's, good morning, Scott Menser. Great to see you, my friend. Let's see here. So Mike's question was, let's do Black Friday Adobe. Yeah, I don't know why Adobe does analytics, but here you go, Mike. This one's a couple days old, but it says Black Friday shoppers set online spending record. Adobe says U.S. online revenue was up 7.5% from last year. And then it says Black Friday shoppers spent a record $9.8 billion. That has actually been updated this morning. If we take a look here on Bloomberg, it says U.S. shoppers will have spent as much as $12.4 billion online during Cyber Monday, according to Adobe, which adjusted its initial forecast of $12 billion because of strong spending on Black Friday and the popularity. Okay, so that was a little bit for here. So people are spending money. Now, here's the part though that I would pay attention to: the popularity of buy now, pay later features that let shoppers stretch their budgets with credit. And that's the key. We've been talking about that. As long as there is credit and there's not a credit bubble, people are going to spend money they don't have. That is that is what happens with the US government all the way through the US people. Ron said Adobe can adjust numbers as well as the government. Yeah, well, here in this Cyber Monday article, I know that I contributed to it, by the way. I did buy an artificial Christmas tree from Balsam Hill. It's pricey, but I'm hoping to have it for forever. So anyway, Cyber Monday forecast boosted after record online holiday sales. U.S. shoppers will spend as much as $12.4 billion online during Cyber Monday, which adjusted its initial forecast of $12 billion upward based on stronger than expected spending on Black Friday and the popularity of the buy now, pay later features. E-commerce consumers spent $8.3 billion as of 6 p.m. in New York. By the way, did you know, you guys may not have seen, Amazon actually became the largest delivery company, beating UPS and FedEx. Amazon delivering only their own packages and beats the UPS, USPS, and FedEx, DHL, the rest of them not even close in there. So pretty much, does that show you where the world is, right? Good morning, Ben King, Derek Bobadilla. Yeah, Derek pointed out Black Friday was up 7%, and that's what we came up with that Adobe a number here that we were talking about. Where is that article? There it is. So anyway, well, it was one of these articles. You guys found it. The outlook, though, still super strong for rates. Rates are likely to hold steady. lock advice remains to go ahead and float. Don't be afraid to lock anything closing in the next couple of weeks, because what are we on now? We're on the 28th, right? So maybe next week you could get some early in the week data. It's possible to see things improve, but loans that close in the first couple weeks of December don't have time to really let everything percolate. If you hold to the last minute, there's a lot of risk. What happens if we don't get the numbers that we want? That happens. It does happen. That could be bad. But floating into for loans closing in the near term, then a couple of weeks, those are the only ones that have any kind of risk. If you have loans floating later in December or closing later in December, closing into January, I would not be locking anything right now. I think that we have too much opportunity to see rates improve. If things continue showing the same thing that we see here, it's going to show that the worst is behind us. Right now, the idea is that the Fed is, markets are betting on 0% chance of a Fed rate hike in December. It's 94% right now. It's been as high as 100% that there be no Fed rate hike, but this is still enough to know that's kind of, again, this is nothing there. January, no expectation of a Fed rate hike. So it's not that markets believe that the Fed is pausing. It believes that the Fed is done. And if the Fed is done raising rates, then that means mortgage rates are done going up. They'll go up, they'll go down, they'll go up, they'll go down, but it'll be within that range that we've seen. We're not going to see rates continue to push back up into the 8s or into the 9s. So thankfully, the worst should be behind us. Remember, I thought that was going to happen back in early September. I thought that was in September, and then we got whacked in October. So, but now the question is, will the Fed need to cut the Fed funds rate? When it is clear that the Fed is going to cut the Fed funds rate, or that they start talking about it, we're going to see mortgage rates improve. Remember, mortgage rates improve on the speculation of what's going to happen. That's why bond yields are so much better now than where they were. I know that Ron, you said if I get my ugly head out of the way, you could see better. So let's go ahead and make this stuff full so you guys can see here. So, looking at this here, this is what I wanted to show you real quick. This is the 10-year Treasury yield. Look at how we have just, again, this nice flat. I could really bring this down into a range right about here that we are seeing this 10-year Treasury yield. I don't need that. I wanted an arrow. Here we go. Now I'll go to an arrow. So we're in this range. When we see it break down through this range, we see it break below this green line, which is the 100-day moving average. This is all likely to happen in the first couple of weeks of December. When we see this 10-year Treasury yield drop, what this is really telling a story is that markets, that traders do not think that the Fed is going to be able to raise rates any further, and in fact that they're going to have to cut rates. That's why we see the yield drop. Remember, we were up to 5% here, and that was devastating. That's when mortgage rates were up pushing that 8% level. Significant drop, about 60 basis points for that 10-year Treasury yield, which has also given us about 60 basis points of improvement when you look at the rates. We were at 8% and now we're at 7.3. That's about 60 basis points, right? We're at 7.92, 7.32. It's exactly 60 basis points. And you could see that this was back in October. This is the end of October. That is what we were looking at. And that's kind of how this stuff works. There is a direct correlation between expectation of where the Fed is going to take that Fed funds rate, where bond yields go, where that 10-year Treasury yield goes, where mortgage bonds follow, and then mortgage rates, of course, are the ones that follow through on that. So Scott said, watching on YouTube, difficult to comment. Not sure. Are you on your phone? Because I know that it's kind of weird to comment on YouTube. You have to click the comment and then bring it up and then you can comment. But yeah, that's it. So anyway, my friends, it's great to have you here. I appreciate you. Hopefully, again, the advice remains, go ahead and float. Don't be afraid to lock in anything closing in the near term. If you like these rates, it's good to have them, get them closed. But very little concern that rates are going to move up higher from here. And even this week, if they crept a little bit, it's going to be a little bit worse pricing. We're not going to see rates take any big jump. There's no reason to. PCE data is rumored to be coming in a little bit better than expected, which could help rates improve this week. I would at least hold off till Thursday and see what that PCE data does. That would be if it was my loan. So Ron says, as we get closer to the holiday, well, let me change the chat. Ron says, as we get closer to the holiday, I get fearful of floating since volume diminishes, volatility grows both ways. Yeah, definitely, Ron, but that's much later in the month. I don't think we have to worry about that. Again, I think we're really going to have a good idea of where we want to be that middle week of December. We get the Fed meeting on the 13th. We get the CPI data on the 12th. We're going to have all the labor data the week before that. I think that by the time we get to that third week of December, you're going to be locking things up ahead of the holiday. Let's see. Mike said, hopefully they get back in the twos. What are we talking about, Mike, on that one? I don't know I know we weren't talking about rates. We don't want rates to be back in the twos. I think you're talking about the GDP. Ron said, I still forecast unemployment of 5.5 for of Q3. I think you meant 5.5 and Q24, and rates will start dropping then. Yeah. Robert said, I agree with Ron. Been burnt too many times this year on gambling. Listen, I don't disagree, y'all. Again, you got a lot. These are good rates to lock in as compared to rates that we've had in the past. The key is going to be, though, if things do improve in December, then we're going to see speculation of the Fed to cut rates earlier. And if this grows where there's an overwhelming belief that it'll be in May, possibly in March, that would come with softening labor data as well as where the Fed goes and inflation, then that's going to see rates improve. We're going to see that reaction to it. So Scott, watching on Roku TV and commenting on your phone. That's pretty damn cool. I have to say, that's pretty cool. So technology today. I'm on TV. I'm at least on Scott's TV. Ron said, close now with refi later, diminished EPO risk. Yeah, hopefully things continue to go down in a nice, smooth, steady path. EPO risk will be a lot lower then. And I think that's what we're looking at right now. That could change, but it's what we're looking at now. So, all right, y'all, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have a fantastic day. I have a quick question for you, though, for those of you that are commenting, and I appreciate all of you that comment so much. I'm doing my end of year. I always do my annual business planning session. I think this year is going to be more important than, I guess I probably say that every year, right? It just seems important. I feel like that I need to have a very clear plan for 2024. I think it's still going to be a rough year. I think LOs also need to have a clear plan. I usually do it the week between Christmas and New Year's because it's quiet. Nobody does anything. Should I do it earlier in the month? Or should I do it that week between Christmas and New Year's? Even if you don't come and you're not going to be a part of it, just give me your opinion on that. I think that week between Christmas and New Year's is just a really good reflective week. I've done this for, I want to say 6 years or 7 years, or maybe even longer than that now, going back to 2015. So 8 years I've done these. Mallory said earlier in the month. Steve says earlier. Yeah, see, I just feel like I feel like kind of everybody's itching to get their stuff together now. And even though I normally do it that last week of the month, I'm going to get some opinions on that. Robert said early, going to be busy towards the end of the year. Someone said, I love the week for that reason. Tim said earlier, we will be on a cruise. Mike said we all do CE that week. Yeah, I get you. Scott said earlier, I'm going to send out an email too, because I want to feedback on that. Because if I do it, then I'd have to do it, I guess. Yeah. All right, cool. I appreciate y'all. Monica says earlier. Bobby said earlier this year. It just seems right to do it earlier this year, doesn't it? Like I said, I normally wait. It's a nice quiet time, but I think everybody needs to recharge. All right. Thank y'all. I appreciate your feedback. I do, because I'm getting a very strong sense that you guys feel earlier is the way to go. And that's what I want to, I want to get as many people on as I can. Ron said we do our business planning right after Halloween. I think so many folks drop out of business during the holidays. That's true. I've been doing a lot of stuff, Ron, as well. But I really want to make sure I've got everything fine-tuned and down. So, all right, y'all. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.